Lay people need to understand that they can effectively make changes in their own lives, which will enable unity to begin to develop among the Orthodox. They can seek after unity with concrete measures. And one of those things they need to do is, first of all, begin to visit other Orthodox churches and worship together. Recognize that there are Orthodox across their own city that they can share worship and then also activities with. Conferences, invite one another to your local parish Bible study conferences. So in other words, get one another to do things together. And then talk to the hierarchs about it as if it's actually an important problem. People do not bring this to the hierarch's attention. They begin to feel that it's not a pressing problem, let's deal with other problems. So if there's a groundswell of interest, it will begin to be put on the agenda for the hierarchs. I think that they are tending to react to whichever fires need to be put out. That's not a great way of leadership, but on the other hand, sometimes that's the only way you can function if you have a lot of fires to put out. So I think that when the people indicate interest and a true desire for unity, that will come to the attention of the hierarchy. I know that they have been working on it, but then it gets set aside because of other issues. So it needs to be brought back into the interest of the church. And finally, I think that Orthodox need to read, they need to study, they need to worship together, and they need to pray for the unity of the church. We do tend to forget that prayer is essential to our life as a church, but when we pray together, we actually make effective changes. We change our own hearts and our own selves, and ultimately, the way the life of the church progresses changes. The word diaspora has been used to describe the situation of the Orthodox in America, but it is really no longer a valid concept. It really gives the sense of a people dispersed, scattered, still wandering in essence. But that is not the reality of the Orthodox in America. We have been born here. We have been Orthodox here for more than one generation. In my own case, my grandparents arrived here, but my parents, myself, and my children have all been born here, lived our Orthodox faith fully here, and only tangentially relate to the historic roots in our mother country. And indeed, we have grown up a faith here. We've built a faith here with faithful Christians who are holy. We look for a new church to emerge when it has saints, when it has its own bishops, when it has its theological schools, when it has active Christian commitment. So, do we have that? We have all of that. We have people whose lives are 100% devoted to the faith, who live out the fullness of their faith, active charities, we have iconographers, we have people with Orthodox music, we have Orthodox music being created here. We educate our children in the faith. We have a monastic life that has taken root and is growing here. Certainly we have our hierarchy. So we have everything in place for a rooted faith for generations, and indeed it has begun to develop its own expression, an authentic Orthodox expression in some ways characterized by its new life here. And we certainly can detail that, but we don't have time for it here. So in no way does it operate as a diaspora anymore. Does that mean that we have no connection left to our mother churches? By no means. Our connection should be one of love and great support. In fact, we should be able to support the mother churches more effectively when we actually combine together. We will have a voice, a presence on the American landscape that then maybe can make political, economic changes that are supportive for our mother churches. Certainly, we would continue in many ways to support a loving mother. Even are we now our own children, grown up to be our own, to have charge of our own lives, we would not forget those who brought us into the faith, who cared for us, just as children who age and grow up and become parents never forget their own parents and still take care of them. What about the diversity that we really cherish? And I think absolutely that would continue. A diversity, however, that celebrates the way each community expresses its faith. So yes, a community that has people with Russian background, with Greek background, with Serbian background will still celebrate those traditions, but maybe now in a way that shares some of those. We would certainly still allow parishes to have a more ethnic expression if that's the needs of that community. And this is where Orthodoxy actually excels, that it can incarnate and express the faith according to the people. And if this one community is still ethnically tied to the old world, of course that community will have a more ethnic expression. But it can still be jurisdictionally united with a community that has a more American expression. And they can work together then on the diocesan level, as opposed to being now in separate dioceses with separate programs. They can interact and yet still retain their ethnic flavor. And I hate to say it, but the Roman Catholics certainly maintain parishes that are Polish, Mexican, Ukrainian. They have managed to do that, and people are very happy to express their identities and yet still remain one faith. Certainly, Orthodox can do it even better. I mean, in a sense, because we are a faith that truly incarnates the teachings and the traditions. So I don't see any problem. We just really need to get busy doing it. So.